So my pastor actually called me while we were in the hearing. And so I sent him the voicemail and I was like, I'm in a hearing. And he was like, I know.
I get the sense that it's not just Democrats that don't like her.
Oh, no. Like, her people don't like her either.
Her people don't like her either.
The next time you say bleach blonde, bad build, butch body, please let me know so I don't have water in my mouth and spit it out.
Trump claims he had the greatest economy ever, but Crockett just pulled out the actual GDP numbers that prove Obama's economy was stronger. The look on Kimmel's face said it all. When Kimmel showed the real footage of Trump's packed rallies with rows of empty seats, the audience couldn't stop laughing. But it's what Crockett said next about Trump's leadership that had everyone stunned into silence. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Ever wonder what happens when a comedian gets tired of Trump's nonsense? Jimmy Kimmel just showed us, and it wasn't pretty for the Orange Man. Kimmel has a long history of roasting Trump, but his latest takedown reached new heights, exposing empty promises and failed leadership that left the audience in stitches. While most comics stick to generic jokes about Trump's hair or tan, Kimmel came armed with receipts. He didn't just mock Trump's claims about packed rallies. He actually showed side-by-side footage of Trump bragging about massive crowds juxtaposed with rows of empty seats.
Here's the reality for me. I don't think that really anyone should have decided that they should supplant their own judgment on an 80-year-old black man. And, you know, this is someone who lived through the civil rights era and saw the dogs and saw the hoses and saw the police bludgeon and bloody people. As the president decided to get up there and lie, as we know he always does, and say that he had a mandate. We know that he did not run on this idea of cutting out Medicaid.
The contrast was devastating, and the audience couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity. One of Kimmel's zingers had the crowd howling when he pointed out that Trump has been in court more times than he's been in a gym. The joke landed perfectly because it highlighted both Trump's legal troubles and his questionable fitness claims in one swift blow. It's the kind of brutal honesty wrapped in humor that makes Kimmel so effective at political commentary. When Trump started boasting about creating the biggest economy ever, Kimmel was ready. He pulled up actual economic charts comparing Trump's performance to Obama's, making it clear that Trump's claims don't hold up against real data. The visual aids emphasize just how disconnected Trump's statements are from reality. The split-screen comparison of Trump's inauguration crowd versus Biden's might have been Kimmel's most devastating visual gag. It simultaneously mocked Trump's obsession with size while providing irrefutable evidence of his exaggerations. The audience couldn't look away from the stark difference in attendance, and Trump's long-standing fixation on crowd sizes made the joke hit even harder. Perhaps the most uncomfortable moments for Trump supporters came when Kimmel played a montage of Trump struggling with basic teleprompter reading. As the former president stumbled over simple words, Kimmel quipped, "This is the guy who claims he's a stable genius."
I've got to do what's right for me. So when you look at what people are offering, what their platform is, whether it's, you know, aligned with making sure that the convicted Orange Jesus, but that there's so much more that we need to do. We still know that housing is a struggle. So many people are not able to build that generational wealth because they can't buy a home right now because of interest rates. And does it look like divisiveness, or does it look like someone who at least may not be perfect and I may not agree with wholeheartedly, but I know he's at least working for me?
The juxtaposition of Trump's self-proclaimed intelligence against his obvious struggles with fundamental reading skills had the audience roaring. Kimmel didn't just throw random jokes. He methodically exposed Trump's pattern of making grandiose claims without evidence, preparing the perfect setup for Congresswoman Crockett's fact-based takedown. By the time Kimmel finished, Trump's credibility was already in tatters. While Kimmel softened Trump up with comedy, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett was about to deliver a knockout blow using something Trump seems allergic to: actual facts. As a former attorney, Crockett approached her takedown with the precision of a prosecutor presenting evidence to a jury, and Trump was definitely the defendant. When she stepped up to the mic, you could tell this wasn't going to be your typical political speech. Crockett came armed with what politicians rarely bring to a fight: The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Unlike comedians who can just toss jokes and move on, Crockett had the tougher job of presenting accurate information while keeping people from falling asleep. Spoiler alert, she nailed it. Remember when Trump bragged about his amazing economy? Crockett pulled out receipts faster than a shopaholic at a Black Friday sale. She whipped out actual GDP growth statistics that showed Obama's economy growing faster than Trump's fantasy numbers. Poor Donald, math has never been his friend.
So my question is, why is it that you need to create an entirely new subcommittee when you literally could go through and do whatever work it is that you're talking about handing over to the gentle lady? Y'all had a chance, you chose not to use it, so why should the American people be convinced that now all of a sudden, because you create a new committee that has been promulgated to find some people that actually care about their constituents? And honestly, whenever y'all are ready to work, we on this side of the aisle have always been ready to do what is right by the American people.
But Crockett was just warming up. She turned her attention to something far more disturbing: Trump's connections to white supremacists. In her most powerful moment, she dropped a truth bomb that exploded right in Trump's face. The people responsible for 80% of America's most violent crimes aren't immigrants or minorities, but white supremacists. You know, the people Trump refuses to condemn. Ouch! The Congresswoman's legal background really shined when she dissected Trump's courtroom behavior. She compared his legal defenses to a whiny defendant who complains about unfair treatment instead of actually proving his innocence. It's like showing up to court and saying, "But judge, I'm the victim here," while wearing an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs.
This is very simple. We right now have a white supremacist that is sitting in the White House. He is backed up by other white supremacists. And if you really want to know who the criminals are in this country, you can Google it. You don't have to trust me. Tearing our democracy down physically, and now we have them tearing us down right here from within. But the people that commit 80% of the most violent crimes in this country are white supremacists. Yet for whatever reason, they sit and they serve at the pleasure of the president. They are the ones that were there on January 6th.
As she built toward her conclusion, Crockett delivered what might be the most devastating line of the night, asking what kind of leader collects felonies the way some people collect Starbucks points. Can you imagine Trump trying to redeem his felony points? I'd like to trade these for a presidential pardon, please. When she moved to fact-check Trump's healthcare claims, Crockett didn't just say he was wrong. She pulled up actual reports showing how he tried to dismantle the Affordable Care Act while claiming he was its protector. It was like catching someone standing over a broken vase saying, "I'm actually a professional vase protector."
That's what's happening right now. I am tired of the white tears. Listen, if you are competent, you are not concerned. When I walk into Congress every single day, you know why I don't feel away and why you can't make me doubt who I am?
Really is not partisan. I know that it looks very partisan, but at the end of the day, we know that the cuts that the Republicans are proposing, that these cuts are not only going to impact Democrats and independents, but Republicans as well.
There is no comparison, and that is the life that we have always lived. So the only people that are crying are the mediocre white boys that have been beaten out by people that historically have had to work so much harder.
When Kimmel's comedy and Crockett's facts united on that stage, they showed everyone the perfect recipe for taking down political BS. It's like watching a 1-2 punch that Trump never saw coming. The way they worked together, with Kimmel softening Trump up with jokes before Crockett delivered her fact bombs, wasn't just entertaining, it was effective. Media analysts are calling this combo a new standard for political commentary that could change how others tackle similar topics. As Trump tries to make his big comeback, this dynamic duo exposed his biggest weakness. He can't handle being both laughed at and fact-checked at the same time. Their tag team approach proves that when humor joins forces with truth, even the strongest political spin machine starts to wobble.